Hi, welcome to insPAWed. I'm Cindy Morgan, and this is my co-host Nigel. And today we're joined by Erin Erler, owner of Cakes by Erin in Haverhill, Massachusetts. Erin's story centers around her beloved dog, Bo, her best friend, hiking companion, and soul dog. When Erin was diagnosed with breast cancer, Bo was facing his own cancer battle. Through surgeries, treatments, and some of the most difficult days of her life, Bo never left her side. Although she ultimately had to say goodbye to Bo while recovering from surgery herself, the strength, love, and resilience he gave her continued to shape her path forward. Today, Erin is pursuing certification as an oncology cancer exercise specialist. Inspired by her own journey and driven to help other women reclaim their strength, confidence, and physical healing during and after cancer treatment. Bo may no longer be by her side, but his impact continues through their lives Erin hopes to touch. Thank you so much, Erin, for coming here today.
Thank you for having me.
These stories matter.
Yes.
So, tell us about Bo and how he inspires you to become this oncology cancer exercise specialist, which is a fascinating topic that I've never even heard of. So this is important for us to hear.
Most people haven't, yeah. Bo was my soul dog. I've never had a dog. He was my first. He was my soul baby, and we used to, he never left my side. I couldn't even pee without him being right outside the door waiting or anything. Always mama. But yeah, he was my baby. We used to hike all the time together and, go play in the water and do everything. And
what kind of dog was Bo?
He was a mix. He was a pitty lab, just big black bear of a dog, over 100 pounds, that thought he was a lap dog.
Oh my goodness.
And, sweetest little blockhead ever. I just looked at you with the most soulful eyes, and yeah, he was a sweet big boy. Sweet boy.
Yeah, 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Not a small puppy.
Yeah. So
this journey that you two were on, what made you realize your pet had sparked something bigger?
Him, I think we all know this with our dogs. They can sense what's going on with you. They are always there for you. They don't leave your side when something's going wrong.
For sure.
Bo was definitely that dog. He would lay in bed with me and literally hold my hand, his paw in my hand, and we would lay there together.
Yeah.
When I couldn't move and couldn't do a lot of stuff, and he always made sure to never leave my side. And unfortunately, through my journey, we found out he also had cancer.
I know, that's
crazy. I thought we had more time together, so through my second major surgery, he was starting to get a little more sick, and I thought, okay, we'll do this in winter, and then by spring, I can at least give him the last, nice weather hurrah of everything.
And what year was this all happening?
That was 2025.
Okay.
Yeah. So my cancer journey started in 2024. At the beginning of 2025 was my second surgery.
Okay.
And he, in that December of 2024, started getting sick.
And what kind of cancer did Bo have?
It was in his head, in his. He just started getting constant nosebleeds.
Isn't this crazy?
And we went to the vets, and they said, dogs don't get nosebleeds. This is not good. And we did a bunch of scans. We tried not to be too invasive, because the more they said, it's not gonna go well if you try to do more testing and more everything in there.
Right.
So I made the call that we were just gonna ride it out and give him the best of everything that I possibly could. And so I planned to have my surgery as soon as possible, thinking, okay, I'll get this done. I'll physically get better to a point, and then I will get him back out there. We'll go to the beach, we'll go on car rides, we'll go do all the stuff before it gets worse.
And how old was Bo when he was diagnosed?
He had just turned 7.
Oh,
he was
my
only
goodness.
7.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
So you have your surgery, and what happens during that time? That second surgery?
Yes, yeah. So I had initially my double mastectomy, and then I had a bunch of reconstruction stuff during the second surgery, and I was in the hospital in Boston for about a week or so because I had some complications and I had to stay there. And while I was in there, hooked up to everything possible, my kids had called me and they were like, he's not good. He waited till I was not around.
Oh, I absolutely believe that because humans do the same thing.
Yep. And the vet said, we had a vet come to the house and check him out, said the same thing. He waited till you weren't around.
Yeah.
And, you know, my kids were with him and everything. My sister was with me in the hospital and I had to say my goodbyes over a video.
Yeah.
And it was the worst thing that I had been through. Just to
yet
not
coinciding with all of what you're trying to go through.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even wrap my head around that. Like how.
I just wanted to be with him at that point. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I did not care.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, like the doctors were like, you can't leave. I'm like, I'll sign myself. They're like, no, we're telling you, you can't leave right now. And I just wanted to be home to hold him while everything was happening.
Right.
And it's, you know.
And the vet said it right. He waited.
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
He did.
For sure. My goodness.
Yeah.
So out of all that, what was the moment that made you realize that Bo had sparked something bigger in you?
I think, you know, it was a double down of emotions of going through everything I was physically going through, the emotions of losing him, coming home. It was gut-wrenching because I had to come home and lay on the bed and he wasn't there. Everything was just so empty as soon as I went home. And anybody that's lost a pet, you know this.
Absolutely.
The silence is the worst, I think. You know, you don't hear the little nail scratching.
Yes.
You don't, you know, all the little things you realize you start missing.
Yep.
And it took me a while. I set some goals physically for myself for, you know, moving and doing things. And I think the big realization for me was when I started to kind of go I made the decision to go walk our trails again. And I was avoiding every place that we had gone together.
Anything that would remind you of
it was tough because I was stuck at home through the winter for this. So I couldn't avoid any of that. But then once the weather got nicer and I was more mobile, I was like, okay, I'm going to go walk to our spots. And that's at Winnikinny. So we used to do all the trails over there. And I have a favorite 6-mile hike up over there. It's beautiful. And in a way that was very healing for me because, you know, at some points I could walk through the woods and cry by myself.
Absolutely, right?
And not have anybody like, geez, who's this lady? What is she doing? But a lot of people were used to seeing us there. And I also got to, you know, just put my love into other people's dogs. They'd walk by. That helped in a way.
For sure.
It broke my heart, but it also, I loved interacting with other people there with their dogs. And I'm like, okay, there's healing in movement. There's healing in doing this and being out there. And it was a healing journey anyway for myself, not just emotionally from losing him, but also the cancer recovery.
Yeah, I mean, so we still got the big C word happening with you and you trying to get yourself better.
Yeah, so it was all part of that, and I have a keychain that has some of his ashes, so I take him everywhere on adventures with me, and you know, still talk to him. We still go do stuff together, and just. You know, I made it a point to start going to do all sorts of things and bringing him with me, the ones that I couldn't after the surgery that I'd missed out on. So that kind of pushed me to work on healing myself a little more.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's one lesson your pet has taught you that shows up every day in your business and your interaction with community? Like I'm listening to you and I can already see that having this experience with your own cancer, having the experience of a loss of a pet from not just even the loss of a pet, but with cancer. Anybody going through cancer, you are the expert of how it feels to be the patient, away from family, your support pet. It makes you be I don't mean this with any disrespect, but it's a superpower that comes from these adversities that we deal with moving forward. We move forward different after such traumatic events.
1000%, yeah.
And so you're showing up completely different than I ever could.
I just, you know, I lost him. I was able to rebuild myself, and I've had a few close calls over the past few years health-wise with different things. And I think the biggest takeaway is I don't want to regret anything anymore.
Right.
That you get a very, very strong sense of life.
I bet.
And what you don't want to miss out on, what you don't want to not take a chance at. So, I'm shifting most of what I'm doing and what I'm known for,
yes.
which I'm still doing that, but it's on a back burner, while I'm cooking a bunch of other things at the same time.
Right. I like the cooking reference.
Yeah, right. Yeah, gotta go with cooking.
So the Oncovy cancer exercise specialist,
Yes.
absolutely was birthed from this experience.
Yeah, I started. I actually found them solely as a patient to be like,
Are they local?
No, it's all across the country, different countries. They have certified instructors everywhere. It's not huge numbers of people that do this, but
What's the closest to Massachusetts?
it's all independent. It's
Okay.
not like a
It's
one
not
facility.
a nationwide kind of thing.
I mean, it is, but everybody just kind of, once you're certified as a specialist, you work out
You're
of either.
independent.
Yeah, you can do it online. You can do it, however you want to work with patients.
Okay.
And I happened to come across, because I was looking up resources in the beginning, in panic mode, you're just kind of trying to learn. And I kept having emails from them, and I never reached out to see if there was anybody in the area that could help me. And I just kept getting emails, and I'm like, let me click on this.
Like the universe saying, you get this message.
It didn't stop. So I clicked on it and I started researching about it, and having gone through, physically a bunch of different things, I was like, I can do this. This needs to happen, because it wasn't easy for me. It can't be easy for any other women going through it.
Right.
I'm very stubborn and I will push. So I know if I struggled,
That's saying
it's
a
got to
lot
be
then.
harder for, and I don't mean that to sound downplaying anybody,
No.
anything, but like I know the level that I push
Well,
myself.
everybody's resiliency is that different. There's resiliency of a flea, and then there's the resilience of the, Thor.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
everything in between. So, right.
And I know for me, I was like, oh, wow, this needs to happen. There needs to be something in the area for this.
So break down what the specialist actually does.
So I'm also currently, I've been working on a degree in exercise science as well. So I started going back to college to just get a foundation of that.
I mean, you can sleep later, right?
Right? Yeah. No, what is
It's time to sleep later.
I already slept. I slept during my recovery. So that was my vacation. Jeez. But so I'm trying to lay down a solid foundation of knowledge to be able to help other patients, not only, book-wise, but on top of taking my own physical and personal experience from it, which really helps, I think.
Right.
Having gone through it. You know what it feels
sure.
like. You know what it feels like.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Yeah.
There's wonderful teachers
Yeah.
who've never experienced a lot of the things that they teach.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But then there's the teachers who have lived it, walked the walk,
Yeah.
talk the talk.
Yeah.
They're going to offer a whole other level, and every bit of it, every person helping other people is needed. But there's something with...
You connect differently, I think. When you can look at somebody and know that you've had that same shared experience, and that
same pain, that same twinge, that same
If they're
hurdle.
telling you this is something I'm dealing with, you know. It's not just, I read about that. That must be awful. It's... you can give them the hug and say, I understand completely what you're feeling and going through. I know that you want to give up right now. I know what that feels like. I know, the emptiness, or
the last thing you want to do is exercise.
Yeah, exactly. I know where you're at, but you know what? If you keep pushing, because I had so many of those down times, where I didn't think it was going to end. And if you keep pushing, to try to heal and keep going, it does change. It gets better for you. And then you look back and you go, wow, I just went through all of that, because when you're in it, you're in it.
You're in it to win it.
Yeah, so.
And how powerful it is for you to share this story about yourself. Someone's out there struggling right now, and they will listen to this, and you're going to help them see that there's the other side of everything. Everything that we deal with, we're always like, we just need to get to that other side, whatever that other side may be.
Yeah.
And my goodness, you're not even sleeping now. You're doing all these wonderful
and
things.
I'm an open book because, if something that I say or do, as vulnerable as it makes me, if it can reach somebody else and they can go, okay, I can do this.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say it. I'm going to do it.
Absolutely.
I've got no problem putting myself out there 1,000% because it has the potential to help somebody else.
It's empowering. These stories matter. That's why I'm here. I just love sharing I love sharing these stories.
Absolutely.
So how is your pet? Because Bo is always in this. I can feel it.
Yeah.
Everything you've moved forward is because of you're starting this connection with your soul dog. Mm-hmm. Crazy that both of you have cancer at the same time.
Yeah.
That's helping you connect with your customers and community in such a way that nobody else on this planet can offer. I don't know too many people, and I know they're out there, and I'm not saying they don't exist, but are dealing with human and animal at the same time having cancer.
Yeah.
And parent trying to take care of the pet with cancer and themselves, and all this beauty, this hidden beauty that's underneath this ugly is shining through.
Yeah.
How has all of that made you walk this earth differently?
I mean, with Bobo, it was just the love he gave me, unconditional. It's unconditional. He didn't leave my side, and I want to do what I can to honor him and show him, I know he's not here now, and Mama's going to keep going.
Oh, he absolutely is watching all of that for sure. For sure.
I feel him. For
sure.
Yep.
So that's actually my next question. If your pet could talk, what do you think they would say about your success story?
I think he'd love it. I think he'd also be like, "Really, Mom, another business?" But because he's seen me go, deal with all the other stuff too, and been there for all of that. But I think he would say, good, it's needed. If anybody can do it, you can do it.
Right. So how do you see this business moving forward? Because I absolutely know nothing about Enclave Cancer Exercise Specialist.
Right.
What exactly would be some of the exercises for someone who, as like with you, had a double mastectomy?
Yeah.
What is one of the things that would be a huge hurdle for someone trying to move on with their lives? They've now had their cancer diagnosis, they've had all the surgeries, and they're in that phase after all of that.
Yeah.
How does this come into play for that?
Well, the first thing actually through all of it is believe it or not, the doctors all tell you, get up and walk. That's your first thing, is if you can get up and move and walk and just keep yourself going there. And that's what I did with Bo. Like as much as I couldn't move, and he was such a great dog, even when I had pain and I couldn't do stuff, he never pulled a leash. He never, he was so easy to walk.
That's right, because you had a time period with Bo before his cancer diagnosis.
Yeah, I had my double mastectomy, and then, we had that whole window up to my second surgery.
Okay.
So, I mean, he was with me through all of the stuff before, going through the cancer diagnosis, all the initial stuff. And then my first major surgery. And yeah, he would be so gentle walking with me, and he helped me heal. We would go, it was easy for me to force myself to get up because I had to take him for walks, and I had to.
A reason to get out, right?
No, he gave me, so the initial of it, he gave me that reason to get up and get moving.
Right.
And it was slow at first. But he was so patient with me, and he's like, okay, we're just going to do a little bit here, a little bit there, and then we built up to bigger stuff together.
And while you're speaking to me, I'm thinking about when you're walking a 100-pound dog, and what muscles are involved, especially your arms. That's all your pecs and right. Yep. So if this dog,
if he jerked the leash at all,
a little bit for you, that would be very painful.
Yeah. And he was always so gentle. Honestly, he could off leash and he would never leave my side. Or if he went up a little bit, I just say, Bobo. He'd always stop, look back, Mommy still, okay, and just always check on me. He never took off or anything, so I could off-leash him if I wanted to, anywhere, and he was fine.
How lucky you were.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about the person who's going through exactly what you did,
Yeah.
and they have a 100-pound dog,
Yeah,
but the dog's not one that listens.
yeah.
Right? I'm thinking, wow, put a leash around your waist. Maybe, could that work?
It could. It could, depending on,
So now
the types
does your
of
expertise,
surgeries.
now with all your expertise,
Yep.
experience, you could help the person that has that kind of situation.
True, yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Because they're not going to, now they're thinking, how am I ever going to walk my dog? We loved walking together, but they're not a dog that can be off leash and they don't really listen well. They don't have good recall.
Yep.
But now I don't want my arm jerked. They're a little jerky.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it comes down to know your pet,
Yeah.
If it's something that it's going to be excessively strong that could take you down, you're going to have somebody else hold the leash for you. But if it's a minor sort of thing, a smaller dog that would pull a little bit, I love the waist ones because it gives you that freedom to not put pressure on your chest for that type of thing. So something like that would completely work for that. Because you have no idea how many muscles are all tied in until you don't think about it. We move every day and we do all sorts of stuff until you have a restriction, and then you go, oh wow, I can't even do the basics of something.
Yeah, even if you
without it pulling in 5 different spots.
Yeah,
right?
let's take away cancer and dogs and all that. You just sprain your ankle.
Yeah.
You all of a sudden are fully in love with your ankle and you have so much appreciation for it as soon as it doesn't work correctly.
Yeah.
Right, we take everything for granted in our muscles, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how that happens, but you're right.
Yeah.
You're just going to be doing this world some great service here.
I hope so.
I'm so excited for this
Thank
for you and everybody that you're going to reach because it's
needed.
Yeah, it's like
very needed.
It's another thing that I don't think anybody thinks about unless you're going through it, right?
Yeah. And you don't realize, what is actually not out there for you, and that there is a need for something. And I am kind of a see a need, fill a need kind of person. And, that's how I started with the baking and everything, was because of my son's food allergies. I started doing what I do because my kid had food allergies and we couldn't buy cakes anywhere or anything for him. So I taught myself how to make everything. I'm kind of I'm that person. So I taught myself how to make everything for my kids.
Most best inventions are from necessity. Yes.
It comes from necessity.
So Cakes by Erin was made because your son had allergies and there was nobody at the time. What year was this?
Oh, so he's almost 26 now.
Yeah.
So, 20, we'll say 20, 23, 22 years ago, he had his first reaction, and then it was like world got turned upside down with how,
before the world was gluten-free and
he has severe nut allergies, anaphylaxis. He's severe celiac now, so it's ever evolving there. But when he was little, it was just kind of we'll just learn to make stuff, and business grew from there. So you never know what you can do until life gives you that challenge to say, okay, I got to figure out a way around this, and then. Most of us moms know we've got what we have to learn and create and do all that. But it's amazing what you can build, as a business or something from those skills and that necessity.
Absolutely. And I love saying all the time, you already have the no.
Yep.
If you are believing the no, then it's no, but you already have the no, so why not take some action to it and see where it goes?
Yeah, 1,000%.
You don't know. Don't concentrate on the how. That's how I started Wolfstock.
Yeah.
It was just, hey, we don't have a dog event. Let's
make a dog event.
Make a dog event.
Yep.
How? I don't care. I'm just going to keep taking the steps to get there. So I love that.
You just fine tune it along the way. You find what works, you find what doesn't. You just, you improve. Well, it's never going to be perfect at first. Don't ever think it's going to be perfect at first.
Right.
If it is, you are very lucky. It is not. It's it took me years with my other business to
perfect it.
To really hone in on different things like that. But that's part of the process. You got to learn from your mistakes. The mistakes are there.
Well, they
for
bring clarity.
Yeah.
Clarity is always looked at for the yes.
Yeah.
But I like to always talk about how clarity really shows you a lot of no's.
Yeah.
And those no's are the things that you say, that doesn't fit me, that isn't what I want.
Yep.
And you now keep looking for the yes to what works and what does fit. And it's, I think there's pure magic in that.
Yeah, you'll find what serves you and what works there. Like you said, and then the rest, you just kind of put it aside. It might work for somebody else, and that's fine.
Right.
But you got to be okay with what works for you.
Right. And you know what's wonderful, Erin, is you took a situation that, you know, there's a lot of parts to your story that could really just make you put your head in the sand and never want to look at it again. You know, cancer alone on itself is quite the heavy lift. Then a dog who passes away with cancer, and you took all these components and found that beautiful, shiny, hidden gem that's in there and are doing something with it. So I applaud you for that, because that takes a lot. And I think we don't really always applaud the person that's, like, you know, gone through the battle for it. And so thank God for you. We need this. The world needs this big time.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I always do this segment called Spill the Treats.
Okay.
And so what's one fun, quirky, or surprising thing about your pet or your journey together that you want to share? And a lot of funny stories have come up over this.
Oh gosh, Bobo. He had so many funny things that he was a quiet observer, which I loved. Like, we could sit outside somewhere and he would just make sure to plant himself and just kind of and just keep an eye on, like he was watching the whole neighborhood and make sure, okay, everything's okay, Mom can sit and relax, okay, we're good. You know, he was very much like that until you brought water into the equation.
Oh, goodness.
And I loved setting up as big as he was, a little kiddie pool, and you get the hose, and he would bark like a puppy again and go bananas over a hose or a sprinkler, or anytime we'd go near water, even at Winnie Kinney, he'd just whoosh into the, if he could, into the water spots and stuff. But yeah, he would go wacky outside with the hose, and you could just like squirt it every, and he'd run around and chase it all. And you know, as big as he was, and even as he got older, turned into a full puppy as soon as that, unless you had to give him a bath.
Oh, that's that's a whole different
apparently
thing.
That was very different water. Okay, that water did not count. But if he was outside, I used to love that. I used to love summers with him, to be able to go out and play with all that stuff.
That's amazing. And could he swim?
Yeah. I have some pictures of him sitting on the front of my kayak. And again, we almost sank.
Wait a minute, 100-pound dog on a kayak.
I know, we almost went down. He found his balance, and he just sat there, and we went. And this was before I was diagnosed with anything. But yeah, it was me and him, two heavyweights, sitting on the kayak.
That's full 100%. That's full trust in your bond, because
and his trust in me too.
Oh, yes.
You know, completely.
That you wouldn't dump him.
And he sat there, and we paddled and went, and I think he really enjoyed that. You know, little things like that. So yeah.
That's amazing. I love that so much for you too. So where can everybody, where can they find your work, follow you?
Well, everybody, you know, for Cakes by Erin, you get my website, cakesbyerin.com. You can go to any of my socials there for that. I am working with two friends, and we have put together a lot of it's women's group kind of stuff, healing through some of the stuff that I'm going to be doing, with somatic exercises and movement and everything. Reiki, which my friend does, it's and sound healing, and we've called it Soul Sisters Rising. So
let's take a little bit before you go into too much of that. Yeah, so you've been branching out with this new venture, which is wonderful, with your two friends.
Yes.
And tell the audience what they can expect from kind of being at one of these events.
Sure. So we have started Soul Sisters Rising, me, Lynn, and Bethany, and we will be doing different events at different times of the month and year and whatnot. Planning. We have one coming up. It's a solstice event, and we're going to be doing Reiki and sound healing and some guided meditation and stuff like that. So it's really just to get a group of people, and I know it's titled Soul Sisters, but it's all inclusive, so anybody's welcome to join us, just together that connect and go through calming, healing types of stuff. When I get into the exercise end of it, once I'm fully certified, that'll obviously be more movement based and everything. But we're trying to cover all bases because I think people, heal and connect in different ways, and we want to be able to offer that for everybody.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. Yeah. So that's on Soul Sisters.
Soul Sisters Rising on Facebook or Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah, on the gram. So you can
find us on the gram.
Yep, find us on the gram. So we're all over the place there right now.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us and sharing your story. It's amazing. Makes my heart so full. A special thank you to HC Media providing the studio space and supporting community storytelling. And if you'd like to follow insPAWed, you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And if these stories inspire you and you want to be on the show, please consider applying to be interviewed. Information about being a guest can be found on all of those platforms. So I will leave you with this question. How have you been insPAWed? Thank you so much for coming, Erin, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.